Good morning, and welcome to the LinkUp Insights platform presentation. My name is Hagen Lewis. I am in data sales at LinkUp. I'm joined with my colleague, Nick Gustafson, who is our data specialist. So before Nick gives us a demonstration on the platform, I'd like to provide a quick overview of LinkUp. So in 2007, we began sourcing jobs directly from company career portals. By going directly to the company's career page, we're producing the most accurate, reliable, timely, and clean representation of job listings for that company. We also avoid the pitfalls that plague other job data set providers like duplicate listings and expired listings. So on a daily basis, we're pulling down the full job record of each company we source. This includes the full job description, all the occupation codes associated with those jobs, industry classifications, when the job was created, last time we checked to see if that job was still there, any updates to the job. If we don't see the job there any longer, we create a delete date. That delete date tends to be a proxy for the job has been filled. There's approximately 29 unique job attributes that we're pulling down and presenting to our clients. Very robust coverage. We have 64,000 companies indexed in our database, and we're mapped to approximately 15,000 global public companies, representing 195 countries. So it's a big data set, it's granular data. So in an effort to kind of make the granular data easier to consume, access, and visualize, we partnered with Exabel. And they helped us build this web-based portal to illustrate the predictive power of job market data. So the Insights platform allows you to analyze individual companies, compare companies to one another, analyze the hiring trends, compare it to various fundamentals like earnings, revenue, stock price. You can create custom dashboards to view your watch list. You can create dashboards to analyze specific sectors. There's backtesting functionality. There's a whole, just a whole lot more that you can see. So with that, let me pass it over to Nick. Nick will do a deeper dive into the platform and show you all the kind of bells and whistles. Okay, thank you.
Great, thanks, Hagen. What we can see here is the Exabel platform, and this is what it's going to look like right when you jump in. Here you will find a couple different dashboards. So these 5 right here are going to be a little bit more focused on your fundamental use case, and then we also have more of a systematic focused dashboard right here, which is where you can get into that back testing that Hagen talked about. So this is all LinkUp's really high quality data that we source directly from companies' job posting portals, brought to you in a much easier to use format, streamlining the process so you can really see the insights that matter right away. First, we're going to take a look at our job postings dashboard. So this is a high level dashboard and really brings in a lot of that data that you're used to seeing from LinkUp in a quick, easy to digest fashion. So as we can see, it's a dashboard. It looks pretty similar to like an Excel worksheet that everyone's kind of comfortable using, and it functions the same way. So we can filter on these columns and we can sort by these columns. The first columns you'll see are the active, created, and deleted columns. Now, these are the data points that LinkUp is providing. So what we're looking at is our active jobs, which is just a measure of how many postings are on a company's website at any given time. Then we have the created posts. Now, this is a measure of how many jobs is that company creating. And then we also have the deleted posts. This is a measure of just how many jobs a company has removed from their website on any given day. Along with that, we also have active duration. Now, active duration is a really interesting metric. This is kind of the average amount of time a posting has been listed on a company's website. So as we start to see that active duration creep up, that's a sign that they may be struggling to hire. And we certainly have seen that recently. Another very cool thing that this platform, the Insights platform, provides is the ability to kind of get a summary of the fields you're looking at. So each one of these fields has this description, so you know exactly what you're looking at, what these metrics mean. Along with that, we can also see we have management postings, sales postings, and legal postings. So these are just kind of a sample of 3 of the categories we're also bringing in. So bringing in the jobs at a high level, and then we are also displaying those jobs sliced up into categories for what those postings represent. If they're management posting, sales posting, there's a total of 36 of these different categories, but we're just showing 3 that we think are most important. You can quickly take a look at all this data and see who's up, see who's down just by the colors. And then you can, of course, take a deeper dive into each one of these. Another very useful functionality that this Insights platform has is the ability to bring in metrics from FactSet. So we can bring in fundamental data here, and that allows us to start to correlate our postings to some of those job posting metrics we've seen. So we can see here that I believe Dollar General has, or Dollar Tree has, a really high correlation to revenue when they are posting active jobs, and their active jobs go up, their revenue goes up. We can also see that there are just some FactSet data we're bringing in to get a look at the price and the return over time, as well as that company's size in terms of market cap. This is the Insights platform. And then what we can do is we can search for any company. So this used to be kind of a pain point in the past, was finding companies. Here we can just drop a company name in and search for it. So like Citi, if you want to take a look at Citi, we could jump to it. I have it already loaded up here, so we'll go to this tab. And now we're looking at Citi. So at the top level, we have some more of those fundamental data points provided by FactSet, and we can see some of the quarterly results as well as the close price. Then we can jump into a page specifically about LinkUp's job posting data. So here we're just looking at Citi's active jobs, but one of the really nice features is you can quickly pull in competitors of peers. So let's pull in JP Morgan. So we'll pull in JP Morgan here, and we can quickly see what JP Morgan's active jobs have looked like historically compared to Citi's. So if we take a look, it looks like in the past, JP Morgan did have more active jobs, but it seems that Citi is kind of starting to surge and surpass them in terms of postings and hiring needs. Scrolling down this page, we can see that there are monthly job postings. So these monthly postings are just a good indication of what that company's listed in a month and the direction they're moving in. We'll go ahead and remove JP Morgan here, have that data reload, just taking a look at Citi's monthly postings, and then we can jump to this active duration metric again. So here we can see that Citi's active duration is actually really creeping up here. So again, this is a sign that they may be struggling a bit more to hire positions than they previously had been in the past. And this certainly is kind of in line with what we've been hearing in the news, kind of with a tightening labor market and things like that. We also have a very interesting chart that just shows what all those postings look like right now. So like, what direction are they hiring in? We can see that they have quite a bit of business and financial operations, which you would expect for a bank to have, as well as a good chunk of computer and math, and then management occupations. So this is really the postings that are on their webpage this month, or their careers portal this month. These are kind of the categories that they're hiring for. We'll take a deeper look at those categories, looking at some more of the important ones like management and sales, and seeing how they're surging. In this surging signal is basically a moving average crossover. So we can see that it's trending down for all 3 of these metrics we're looking at. And then here we have another really interesting graph, I think. So this is like that pie chart we looked at above. Instead, we're just stretching it out over time. So we can take a look at exactly which occupations are making up the majority of Citi's hiring over time. And you can see that maybe they're starting to change in a different direction by the way they're hiring. It looks like they're adding more business and financial operations here. These are all filterable, so you can start to peel off the ones that don't matter if you're not too interested in legal. And then lastly, we are going to show our active postings along with the sales and the just close price. So you can get a quick kind of eyeball test for what that correlation looks like between either one of these data points. So if their sales postings are going up, does that lead to a higher stock price? Maybe vice versa, and you can just get a quick eyeball test there. Yeah, that is our kind of company's insights page. Again, you can do this for any single company we have coverage of, and it's just as simple as searching that company's name up here, and it'll return it just like that. So I'm going to jump to another one of our dashboards here. This one I think is very interesting. It's our sector dashboard. So what we're doing here is we're actually aggregating up those job postings as well as some return data to get high-level metrics for each one of these sectors. And these are rubric sectors provided by FactSet. Here we can see that active job postings are up, and we can take a look at which industries are leading the way for that. So we see upstream energy is really high. We can see that they've added quite a bit of jobs recently. We can also see the return that they have, and they are also positive there. Where this becomes really powerful is that you can take this, go back to that high-level dashboard, go to our job postings tracker, any other of our dashboards that we have provided for you, and you can add that upstream energy filter here and take a look at just those. Now we're looking at ones that are just in the S&P 500, so it's not a ton. We could open that up to a wider view and look at all of them. And then you can start to see really who is making the movement within the upstream energy field and possibly who is lagging here in terms of job postings. These tags, you can do it with anything. You can import your own universe to kind of filter down and build a dashboard of just the securities and companies you are interested in. So very powerful functionality there. Additionally, we also have some kind of sector focused dashboards. So these dashboards really take a deeper dive into a specific industry. Right now, we have a healthcare one and we have a technology one. And what we're trying to do with each of these dashboards is really hone in on a specific sector and show you the information that matters most. So here we have developer jobs, engineering jobs, and management jobs. Again, those are those categories that we are slicing up and splitting into. And it works in the same way. You can filter and take a look at any of them. So if we're to look at, let's see, active surge, we can see that NASDAQ is up recently, and that's certainly in line with what we've been hearing, as well as Accenture is at, has the most postings. As far as developers, we see that S&P is really a huge increase in their developers. This number may kind of look like an outlier. So one of the great things that this platform provides for us is the ability just to click on any one of these data points and take a look at what we're seeing. So they certainly did have a large shoot up in developers, but that seems to kind of be dying down now. And you can choose which way you want to look at these. You can look at the actual values. And here we do see that they are certainly adding a lot of these computer and math type occupations. We also include other categories. So we have some sales surge, some more engineering. And again, the surge is again like a moving average crossover along with some of that FactSet data here. Going back here, one thing I find interesting with this legal surge is a good indicator sometimes of maybe news that's coming out in the company. So if we take a look at Activision's, they did recently have some not so great news that came out. We can see that they did have a legal surge right around that time that news dropped. If we wanted to dive deeper into what was going on here with Activision, the Insights platform powered by Exabel makes it extremely easy to do so. We just have to click this open chart button. And what that'll do is it'll bring us to this signal viewer. The signal viewer is a very powerful tool. It allows you to plot out and take a look at any of the metrics you want within the platform. So here we can take a deeper look at this legal surge. And again, the legal surge is just a proxy for how much legal posts Activision has been adding. And we see here in early fall, late summer, early fall, that they really ramped up their legal hiring. And now they've since kind of backed off it, but really it was peaking right around here. And then soon after that, some not so great legal news came out involving Activision. So kind of an interesting way to look at that, and maybe you could have got an idea that something not so great was coming down the pipe for Activision. And this is very simple to use. So we can take another look at another example, which would be Peloton. And here we'll get rid of that legal surge we were looking at, and we'll just go in here and we'll take a look at our active jobs. So this is just the active jobs for Peloton, and we can really see a steep drop off here. Now, if anyone's been following kind of what's happening with Peloton, it does correlate really closely to where we saw that stock price fall. But the thing that is nice about insights here is that we can just easily pull that close price in to take a look at when that fell and how that lines up.
Yeah, and while you're looking at that, you know, the key is you could start to see they reported in early November of last year. And prior to that, starting in kind of the summer, fall, you started to see the more precipitous drop off in their hiring, which perhaps signaled that there was something happening. They had a difficult quarter. The outlook was a little bit weaker. And then, of course, subsequent to that, more recently, they've announced a lot of layoffs. So, you know, it's sort of a leading indicator that A, there was, you know, some challenges ahead, perhaps, and B, you could see it continuing into beyond sort of that November quarter, which would signal that things hadn't quite, you know, recovered just yet. We've seen that more recently.
Yeah, that's a great point. They did kind of release that they were having those layoffs right around this time, I believe. And then once we get down here, I think they did recently say that they were halting production on a couple of their products. So really powerful stuff to kind of combine the platform's FactSet data and then pull in our posting data to get to some insights really quickly and very fast and iterative process. And it's super easy to search any of those, like I did with close price. You can search it right up here. And there's also other data like estimates, things like that. So a lot of useful data that can quickly be pulled in here, and just makes the whole process a lot faster and easier to use. Lastly, I want to go ahead and touch on the backtesting module. This is kind of where we move into more of that systematic use case. Before was a lot more fundamental and kind of doing that research, having an analyst do that research. Now we're looking at a little bit more of a systematic use case. Here, Insights allows you to kind of build out a strategy, set some risk controls, and then actually historically backtest that to see how it performed. So here we're looking at a pretty simple strategy. We're just using our active postings and a z-score. And we can see that it's returning at about 3.1% in an annualized return. This is over a pretty long period in a market neutral strategy. So a pretty good performance here. You can also track this going forward, which is nice. So you can go ahead and track it to see how it's doing and not just stop at the end of that backtesting period. I won't dive into any of the risk controls and things that can be added here. But if you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to me to ask. With that, I'll go ahead and turn it back to Hagen.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. Appreciate that. Yeah, that was great. So I'd like to open it up for some questions. Anybody have any questions about the platform that we can answer? Let's see. Okay, so how far does the data go back? Nick?
Yeah, that's a good question. So our data goes back to 2012 within this platform. So we can go ahead and take a look at that really easily. Microsoft is a company we've been scraping for a long time, so we'll have a good history with them. If we go ahead and plot this signal, we can see that we're going back to 2020, but if we edit up here, go back to 2012, let's do January. We can see that there is a deep, long history here for Microsoft. We can also see that their jobs, apart for when COVID happens, it looks like kind of correlated pretty well to that close price that we see from Microsoft.
Okay. I actually don't see the questions anymore. I just lost access to that. Nick, can you see any of the questions?
Let's see, I'll go ahead and pause my share.
Let me see here. I just lost them. Saw a couple more. Okay, in the meantime, if anyone is interested in setting up a trial, a free trial, feel free to, oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, so let me just continue. So if anyone's interested in setting up a trial, you can reach out to us directly. You can reach out to me at hagen.lewis@linkup.com. And I'd be more than happy to set you up with a trial credentials. We'll set up an orientation call and go over the platform. Okay.
So I did get another question here. It looks like the next question is, are only some S&P companies on there? Or I think the question is mainly like, is it just S&P companies being the S&P 500? The answer is no. This is going to be all of LinkUp's public coverage is on Insights.
Great.
And in each dashboard can be filtered to support by market cap, by subsector, or as Nick had mentioned, a portfolio of companies that you care most about. So of the thousands of companies, you can kind of create your own look and your own dashboards based on what is most relevant to your use case.
And the functionality to do that is really simple. You can just go ahead right here and import a list of your universe. So as long as you have, an Excel file of those tickers, it's super simple just to load that universe in there. Then you have a tag you can filter by.
Okay. If there's no other questions, anyone that's interested in a trial, please reach out to me directly. And we appreciate everyone's time. And we're excited about this new platform.